Hello. I'm going to call this video The Peace Which Surpasses All Understanding, because over the last month or so I have completely transformed from the inside out. I am at peace within myself and with the things going on outside of myself in a way that I don't think I've ever been in my entire life. And this state, this feeling, this calmness, it goes beyond and surpasses what I've, it's better than anything, you can get from, that I've had from like drugs or alcohol or anything like that. It's just a calming of the turmoil that used to exist within me. So I can give some examples. I'm at a festival right now. There's like a carnival right over here, and I've just been walking around alone, just kind of chilling, relaxed. Back in the day, something like that, I would have been going through hell inside, more than likely. I would have been thinking stuff like, oh, why am I here by myself? Why am I here by myself? Why don't I have a girlfriend or any friends with me, or like my family or something like that? But that shit is just gone. I am, if anything, I remember my old reactions to the things that I'm experiencing now, and the things that they would have bothered me, they just don't anymore. A really good example, last night I was at this concert, a country music concert right here at the amphitheater. And it started out, I was on the outside a little bit, next to where the rows of the benches were, and I was kind of easing myself into it, letting myself enjoy the music, get out of my own head, and kind of just, because like throughout my life, I've had a hard time melting into the crowd. Like, I would look around and see everyone, and everyone would be, especially, with like music and stuff, everyone would seem to be so caught up in the experience. They're just just having a blast. They're totally, at least it looks like, they're totally unconcerned with what anyone's, thinking about them or looking at them or anything like that. They're just, I would hope, in the moment, which I was extremely aware, when I would go through those things, that I was not. And it would always make me wonder, like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I always in my own head? Why can't I just relax and be normal, So back to the concert, I was sitting on the outside and listening to the music, and they started playing a song that I started to get into. I was like, oh, all right, I like this, and I'm the type of person who, when there's a lot of activity and noise going on around me, I can get overstimulated by that, and it can really bother me. And I guess part of me, I wanted to test myself. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go right into the heart of this concert. I'm going to get right up in the middle of the action and the noise and all the people and all that stuff. And so I walked around, went to the center aisle, and I walked down the stage, and I got reasonably as close as I could get to the front of the stage, where I was like right there, like the band singing was just a little ways up ahead of me. and I was just standing there watching. I looked next to me, and it seemed like the seats were full, so I didn't, sit down right away. But I stood there for maybe 10 minutes or so, and I was just watching and listening to the music, and I was really, I was like, okay, I'm really enjoying myself. This is awesome, and I would clap along and stuff and interact, if the guy waves, I'm like, hey, what's up, I'm just giving myself fully to the experience, and I started to really have fun, like in the way that I had almost never been able to do before, since maybe I was like a little kid. And after after a little while, I felt a tap on my shoulder, like pop, 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 pop. And there's this old guy walked up behind me, and he was like, "You need to move." I was like, whoop. Or at least that's how I would have reacted back in the day. I think it was more along the lines of I just turned around, and I was like, oh. And I was like, I guess I'm blocking his view. So I moved. I didn't do anything. I moved to the other side of the aisle, and I looked around, kind of looking for a place where I could sit, because I don't want to be a douchebag blocking people's view, And finally, I found a place where I could sit down, and I sat down, and then I kind of thought about what just happened, and I was like, I felt my body like reacting a little bit, like, oh, heart's beating a little bit faster, but it was a very brief confrontation. It's like it was over so fast, and I just responded so like calmly to it that there wasn't even time to like really get upset. Like, I kind of thought like, well, the worst thing I could have done would have been like to get really pissed off and like punch the guy or something crazy like that. But I was like, well, that wouldn't have helped anything, so I'm glad I didn't do that, obviously. But even like internally, it was just like a little bump in the road, but I didn't get angry. I didn't freak out or anything, and it didn't really bother me. It was like a confirmation of the results of the work that I've been doing on myself, which is releasing all of the bullshit that's been dragging me down my whole life. All this, shyness and like lack of direction, not knowing my purpose or what I'm doing here. And now I call the video "The Peace That Surpasses All Understanding," because I know that that's where I'm headed, but where I'm at now is so incredible to me, and I want everyone to experience it and live there and stay there and never go back to the way most of us in the world are now. We're at each other's throats, we're beating ourselves up, judging ourselves, judging others. We're making our own hell on earth, and there's no reason for it. We don't need to do that. Not even God wants us to do that, like, whatsoever. None of that bullshit has anything to do with unconditional love or creativity, unless it's creating, chaos. But that's not what we want. Not really. We want stimulation. And a lot of the bullshit that we put ourselves and each other through, it gives us stimulation. But once you find, or even start to find, your true purpose, and you start to live that, you just get pulled naturally towards that. Our neo-think community calls it downstream focus, and I've had that for several weeks now, and it's amazing. Like, it is so much better than than wandering aimlessly through life, you know, just thinking about, what would I like to do next? This sounds good. And then you do that, you lose yourself in it for a few hours, and it's like, okay, well, that was a nice temporary pleasure. Now what? And you get a little hit from it, but it's not long-term satisfaction, because you didn't necessarily do anything to improve yourself or help anyone else. So, you know, why would it be, you know, deeply satisfying or fulfilling? But I guess what I would most like to say is I am aiming for everyone to experience this peace that I found within. And the most incredible thing is, this is just how I should have been feeling my entire life. Like, everything that's been suppressed in me, like my voice, me speaking, me singing, me writing, my voice, my word, it's becoming clear, is the very thing that I was meant to express here on this earth. And now that I'm actually starting to do that, it's like this weight has been lifted from my shoulders. It's just amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close the video. I'm gonna say I love you. If you're going through a hard time, it's gonna get better. You don't have to figure it out. Just let go, relax, and let God. Have a good night. Until next time. Chipisa la chiqui.